Folks, I'm making a quick video today to tell you about three really cool upcoming classes that I'm going to be doing in anticipation of my weekend course on the Nakshatra connections to the zodiac signs class that I'm going to be doing. I'm focusing on really interpreting the quality of the nakshatras as they relate to the zodiac signs. Now, you may have heard, different things about the zodiac before, but you really will understand in this course that I'm teaching on October 2nd and 3rd how the nakshatras are directly connected to the zodiac signs. So, for example, Aries isn't one sign, it's the section where you have Ashwini, Bharani, and then the first pada of Kritika. Taurus isn't one sign, it's the first 10 degrees is Kritika, then to 26:30 is Rohini, and then Mrigashira is in between Taurus and Gemini. So what I'm going to be teaching as a bonus class coming up on Thursday, October 25th? No, 24th, is going to be the first bonus class on understanding there are really three different types of nakshatras. There are 9 connecting nakshatras that connect 2 signs. These nakshatras have the quality of the 2 signs. For example, Kritika has the quality of Aries and Taurus. Okay, I can say that, but how does it work? How is the explanation different? How's the interpretation different if your nakshatra is Kritika in Aries or Kritika in Taurus? This is what I'm going to teach in the weekend course, okay? But on these bonus classes, I'm going to teach you these concepts, okay? Like I said, Mrigashira is the place where Taurus and Gemini are connected, right? Part of it is like Taurus, part of it is like Gemini, and it's a totally different interpretation. That's what I'm going to teach on the full weekend course. I'm going to teach those different interpretations, right? But I'm just going to I'm going to give you these bonus classes in anticipation. So again, the first bonus class, that is, again, Thursday, October 24th, is going to break down these 3 types of nakshatras. There are 9 connecting nakshatras. There are 6 Gandanta nakshatras. Now, again, you might think I'm just pulling this stuff out of thin air. I'm not. These Gandanta nakshatras create a hard stop and start between water and fire signs. They're incredibly dynamic and intense in this way. There are 6 of them: Aslesha Magha, Jeshta Mula, and Revati Ashwini. So there's these 6 nakshatras are they're very, a word like intense is overused, but they're very dynamic. They're very, you would say like forceful or, transformative, but yet, very, again, dynamic, where they create this hard stop and restart. And again, I'm going to explain these concepts, generally go over each of them and what they mean. Then there are 12 contained nakshatras. Now, again, I've been using these concepts and talked about these for years, but I haven't done a dedicated course on them before. These, different categories, these 12 contained nakshatras are fully contained in each of the 12 signs. For example, Bharani is just in Aries, right? Now, again, the Gandanta nakshatras are also contained, but because they're these hard stop nakshatras as well, they're a little more dynamic. But you'll have, for example, Bharani, Rohini, Ardra, Pushya, Purva Falguni, Hasta. These nakshatras really, in many ways, are fully contained, and they'll really capture, in many ways, more of a foundational essence of whatever the Rashi is. So you can really get a kind of, overall penetrating insight from those 12 contained nakshatras. So again, these are general concepts, but I'm going to go over this in the bonus class on Thursday, October 24th. That's the first bonus class. Then on Sunday, that would be again, I always have to check. That'll be October, October 27th. I'm going to talk about the nakshatra triplicity and the story arc emphasis. Okay, because all of the nakshatras have this connection to a story arc. From Aries to Cancer, those nakshatras show the story of creation, the cosmic origin, pre-embodiment, before we incarnate. So again, I'm going to go over these principles in these bonus classes so that you understand, so that when I teach the weekend course, October 2nd and 3rd, we can just really go into it. The Leo Scorpio nakshatras show embodied creation, the karma of your life on earth, and those nakshatras also show those qualities, and the deities and the myths and the stories surrounding those nakshatras show this life on earth from Leo to Scorpio. Then Scorpio to, I'm sorry, that should be Sagittarius to Pisces nakshatras show the transcendent story of the soul's liberation. So the Sagittarius to Pisces nakshatra show that transcendent story as we're transcending. These sections of the zodiacs, by the way, also show those things. Aries to Cancer is very much like a kind of birth section. Leo to Scorpio is very much like, okay, now we're alive on earth, we're building life. You have mostly movable signs. You have 2 movable signs, fixed signs. And then the last section of the zodiac, you have 2 dual signs, Sagittarius and Pisces. And so this is where we're transmuting and transforming into liberation. So again, I'm going to give overall, these are, bonus classes on Thursday, Saturday, and then also next Thursday, there's going to be the final one, where I'm going to go over the zodiac and the calendar in the Vedas. So you'll really understand sensibly and calmly the structure of the calendar and the zodiac as it was in the Vedas. You'll understand, I'll go over the texts that show the sidereal integrity of the zodiac. The Vedic astrology zodiac, all of the texts, the astrology text, the astronomy text show that the rashis and the nakshatras are aligned. And again, all these things I'm talking about right now with the nakshatras and the rashis, none of that works if you're not using the sidereal signs. For example, if you're not using the sidereal signs, then a nakshatra like Revati, which is the gentle shepherd, surrendering after the long journey home, that would be an Aries, which makes no sense. Aries starts where Revati ends, Ashwini begins. Again, it's in every text. Even nakshatras like Pushya, which is the breasts, right in the middle of Cancer. It's one of those contained nakshatras. Again, this is why I say many times the contained nakshatras really show the most visceral relationship with the sign. For example, with Cancer, it's Pushya, the breasts. Well, if you're not using the correct zodiac that the Indians used, Pushya is in Leo. The breasts in Leo? No, they're in Cancer. So again, I'm going to go over and show you the sensible structure and the beautiful, elegant structure of the Indian zodiac and calendar, how they were always doing this properly. So that'll be the bonus class next Thursday. That would be November 31st, October 31st, whatever the date is. So these 3 bonus classes will really help you, really prepare you, and really, take you into this point of emphasis. Because again, the point of emphasis in this weekend course, I know you're like, oh, Sam, you've already done nakshatra classes. Why is this different? I've already learned nakshatras. You haven't learned this before. You haven't learned how is it different if Chitra is in Virgo or it's in Libra? What's the difference? I'm not saying, oh, it's Libra, so it's blah, blah. How is Chitra different? Not how is Libra different than Virgo? How is Chitra Nakshatra and those qualities of Chitra, specific to Chitra, different if the planet is in Virgo or if it's in Libra? Are you doing that? You know so much. Are you doing that? Do you know that? Do you know how the Uttarabhadra part of Pisces, or I'm sorry, the Purvabhadrapada part of Pisces or Aquarius, how they're different? The Mrigashira part, the deer, half in Taurus, half in Gemini. What if it's in Gemini? What if it's in Taurus? Again, I've been explaining these things and delineating this stuff for decades. And so this is going to be the course that's just mostly dedicated to that big takeaway. Every one of your planets is in a nakshatra, and that nakshatra is in one of these types of nakshatras that are either a connecting nakshatra between 2 signs. Well, okay, maybe it's in a Gandanta nakshatra, a Slesha, Magha, Ashwini, Revati, Mula, Jeshta, or it's in one of these contained nakshatras. And again, the full course is when I'm going to go over and go through each one. I'm going to go through each one. But in these bonus classes, you're going to get a great overview. And even just hearing this video is a good overview because you've never thought of this before, I'm sure. This isn't something like, oh, I mean, maybe it's popped in your mind before, but how is it different if it's in this sign or that sign? And by the way, like I also said, this also helps you really affirm and understand and not be confused anymore about maybe some of the confusing things you've heard before about, oh, Vedic can also be tropical and all this. That's not the way the system is set up. People are free to have their opinions and do what they want. That's not what Indian astrology is. It was never practiced that way. They were never confused about it. I show the text all the time and people still like, well, what about what these people say? Well, that people say things. It's very clear what's in the, not just what's in the text, but how it sets up the architecture of the sky correctly. Again, because if you're not, then again, you have a nakshatra like Revati in Aries or Pusha with the breast in Leo, and it just gets all mangled. That's clearly not what they were doing. And when you go more deeply into these things, you will see those correct patterns emerge. And then the practicality of the zodiac and each of these nakshatras, and even things like this story arc of creation. These are very powerful cosmic concepts. That's what the nakshatras are. That's what this course is going to be about. So even if you got nakshatra course from me before, a lot of people have, I've taught on nakshatras several times. This is just going to be dedicated to those concepts. And again, between now and then, you also get some other bonuses, which when you go to the sales page, you'll be able to see that. So go ahead and register. Very affordable. And I hope to have you on that class.